Have you ever felt something strange in your body, as if it were being reorganized from the inside out? A warm current rising up your spine, a tingling at the top of your head, a high-pitched sound that no one else can hear. No, you're not imagining things. And no, this isn't just your nervous system acting randomly. Your body is speaking, but not with words. It speaks through sensations, through subtle reactions, through small signs that at first glance seem disconnected. In fact, these symptoms may be a sign that something much greater is happening. A deep, invisible transformation, but completely real. The awakening of consciousness. Carl Jung once said, "The body is the living and visible expression of the invisible soul." What if your body is trying to show you that you're no longer the same person? What if these sensations are proof that your vibration is changing, that you're crossing the threshold into a new reality? More subtle, more conscious, more connected? In this video, we're going to explore the physical signs that show up during spiritual awakening. Not just energetic symptoms, but real changes in the body. Some so subtle they go unnoticed. Others so strange you start to question your own sanity. But what almost no one tells you is that these signs are not random. They're part of an ancient process, an internal rite of passage. So if you've been feeling weird lately, maybe this video is what your consciousness has been waiting for. Let's begin. Muscle microspasms and subtle tremors. Perhaps one of the most overlooked and most powerful signs of spiritual awakening are those small, involuntary tremors. Those twitches in your eyes, hands, or legs that appear out of nowhere, even when you're calm. Has it ever happened to you? In conventional medicine, they're seen as simple reactions of the peripheral nervous system. But for someone going through an awakening process, these movements carry a different meaning. They're like the echo of something deeper being reorganized within, as if the body were trying to release something old, repressed memories, undigested emotions, buried traumas. During practices like meditation, deep breathing, or even silent introspection, these tremors tend to intensify. That's not a coincidence. It's the emotional field reorganizing its biological reflection. Rudolf Steiner called this etheric movements, micro-adjustments in the subtle body that end up reverberating in the physical body. These signs don't call for correction. They call for awareness. When the body starts reacting this way, it's not falling apart. It's breaking free. What happens in the unconscious needs to find a way to express itself, and many times that way is through the muscle. What you feel in those moments is not weakness. It's release. Temperature fluctuations. You're standing still, not doing any physical effort, and suddenly you feel an intense heat rising through your body. Or maybe a sudden cold runs down your spine like a deep chill. There's no wind, no change in the environment, but something inside you seems to have been activated. These temperature fluctuations are energetic symptoms. When we talk about spiritual awakening, we're also talking about a recalibration of the energy field, and the physical body responds to this with its own signs. The heat may come as part of the activation of Kundalini energy, an ascending force symbolized by a coiled serpent at the base of the spine that, when awakened, travels through the body and reactivates previously dormant energy centers. The cold, on the other hand, is often linked to the sudden release of emotional blockages or the entry of a new energetic frequency, more subtle and refined. They come like waves, as if your body were an instrument being tuned to play at a new frequency. And in that process, it heats up, cools down, trembles, pulses. And have you noticed how this sometimes happens during moments of deep silence, prayer, meditation, or contact with nature? It's not a coincidence. It's synchronicity. Your body responds to the sacred, even when your mind still doubts. Increased sensory sensitivity. You start to notice that sounds you used to ignore now bother you. Lights seem brighter. Certain smells become almost unbearable. Your skin reacts more intensely to touch. And more than that, you start to feel the environment. Feel people. Feel that there's something in the air. This refinement of the senses is a common phenomenon during spiritual awakening. The body, in its ancient intelligence, begins to adjust its sensory filters to pick up more subtle frequencies. It's as if your antenna is being reprogrammed. Suddenly, you hear what no one else hears. You feel what no one else feels. By opening your perception, your body is teaching you to step out of autopilot. It's inviting you to feel life fully raw, vibrant, real. The world around you feels more vivid, but also more vulnerable. You're not just seeing with your eyes. You're seeing with your energy field. James Hillman said the soul has its own sense of beauty. When it awakens, everything intensifies. And this process is not always pleasant. The increase in sensitivity can be challenging, but it's also a call to presence. Electric touch sensations. You're sitting in silence, maybe with your eyes closed, and suddenly you feel a tingling at the top of your head, or a light vibration, like an electric current, moving across your forehead or down your back. These sensations are often linked to the activation of energy centers, especially the higher chakras. The crown chakra, located at the top of the head, is considered the entry point of spiritual energy. When it begins to open, many people report exactly this feeling, as if something is touching them without actually touching. It's as if a new energy is being integrated into your system, and the body, through its electric language, responds. Carl Jung said that when we approach the self, we feel a field of force. This inner electricity might be an expression of that, the vibrational field of consciousness reaching the physical body. Changes in sleep. You wake up at 3 in the morning for no reason. You check the clock and there it is, 3:02, 3:17, 2:58. Always within that window between 2 and 4 a.m. Then you try to fall back asleep, but something feels different. As if the night is alive, as if you're being called. This time, traditionally seen as mystical in many spiritual traditions, is often viewed as a window of communication between worlds. According to Eastern wisdom, it's a period of high spiritual activity. Your energy field becomes more open, more receptive, and the unconscious becomes more accessible. Dreams during this time also gain symbolic weight. They may come more vivid, intense, almost prophetic. Jung said that dreams are not just echoes of the day, but coded messages from the unconscious. During spiritual awakening, they become tools of revelation. There's another phenomenon too. Sleep, once linear, now becomes fragmented. Sometimes you sleep deeply for 2 hours and wake up feeling like you've crossed into another reality. Other times, it feels like your body was asleep, but your soul was wide awake, doing inner work. These changes are not failures in your biological cycle. They are adjustments. Your energy field is processing new information, integrating frequencies, and releasing emotional residue. Sleep is no longer just rest. It becomes a portal. Unexplained body aches. You feel pain in your back, neck, or shoulders. You try to find a physical reason. Maybe you slept wrong, maybe it's your posture, but nothing really makes sense. The pain comes and goes. Sometimes it disappears for days. During the awakening process, these aches may not have a physical origin, but an energetic one. They're areas where old emotions have built up, places where you stored hurt, resentment, fear. The body remembers what you tried to forget. James Hillman said the body carries images of the soul. Each pain might be the revelation of an image that needs to rise. Sometimes it's a grief you never processed. Other times, a suppressed anger. But in all cases, the pain doesn't come to punish. It comes to release. As consciousness expands, Everything that was pushed down begins to surface. And the body, the soul's faithful companion, starts a process of purification. These pains, as uncomfortable as they are signs of healing in progress. Trust your body. It's trying to show you where tension still lives, where something needs to be released, where the soul still wants to breathe. Energy fluctuations. There are days when you feel an almost supernatural vitality. You wake up feeling motivated, inspired, clear. And then there are days when you can barely get out of bed. Your body feels heavy, dragged down, as if something deep is draining your energy. This up and down is not weakness. It's adjustment. During spiritual awakening, your life force is being redirected. Your body needs time to absorb new frequencies, release old patterns, and find balance amid the intensity of your inner process. Alan Watts said that life flows in waves of expansion and contraction. The same is true for awakening energy. There are days of light and also days of shadow. Both are necessary. Ringing in the ears. You're sitting in silence and suddenly a high-pitched sound appears. A light ringing, sometimes brief, sometimes persistent. No medical explanation seems to fully fit, but the experience is real. This phenomenon is common among those going through a spiritual awakening. In many traditions, this sound is known as a vibrational code, a kind of tuning between your energy field and higher frequencies. It's as if your consciousness is tuning in to a new station, a new channel of perception, and at first the sound is all you can pick up. Alan Watts said that when we get close to silence, we begin to hear the sound of the universe. The ringing is often the first sign that your sensitivity is being recalibrated. Change in breathing rhythm. You're sitting in silence, maybe contemplating something simple, and suddenly you notice that you're breathing differently, slower, deeper, or you feel the urge to sigh several times, as if your body is releasing something that never reached your mind. During awakening, breathing stops being purely automatic. It becomes a tuning tool. The soul, little by little, starts to take the wheel, and the body responds by adjusting its vital rhythm. Breathing is living, but it's also integrating. It carries the cycle of giving and receiving, inhaling and exhaling, life and death. Alan Watts said that breathing is the only process that is both voluntary and involuntary. It is a bridge. When you breathe consciously, you connect with the present moment directly, without effort. But when your breathing rhythm changes on its own, it's a sign that something is happening beyond your will. Deep yawns, long sighs, natural pauses. These are ways the body processes emotions the mind hasn't yet understood. Breathing becomes a silent language of the unconscious. All of these signs are expressions of something much greater than the body itself. They are visible manifestations of an invisible process. During spiritual awakening, the body stops being just a biological machine. It becomes an oracle, a channel, a bridge between the visible and the invisible, and that can be unsettling, can confuse, scare, exhaust, but it can also set you free. The body responds to the expansion of consciousness with honesty. Yes, awakening is challenging. It reorganizes everything. It breaks down certainties. It dismantles structures. But it also brings you back to yourself. And that return often happens through the body. If you recognize these signs in yourself, maybe you've already begun this journey. And if you're just starting, may this video serve as a mirror, not for the body you see, but for the being who lives within it. Listen to it. Trust it. The process has already begun.